Hey everybody, I'm Dan Bespris, the host of Fantasy NBA Today, Hoop Ball's flagship full-season fantasy podcast. We cover every piece of news, every mock draft, every rank list, pickups, drops, buy lows, sell highs, and every sleeper candidate all year long, Monday through Friday. Come check us out. We're Fantasy NBA Today, and you can follow me on Twitter for updates at Dan Bespris, DANBESBRIS. We'll talk to you soon.
The following is a Hoop Ball presentation.
Good morning, Hoop Ballers, and welcome to another edition of Hoop Ball DFS Today. I'm your host, Santino Cacone, and I am joined here by another guy who hasn't been here for a week. We had a few days off of basketball. Our guy here missed a week, and he could tell us why. Very exciting news, but welcome back, Steve. How you doing, Steve?
Good, man. Glad to be back. Glad to be back home in my apartment in LA, too.
Yeah, before we went on, Steve was saying he was in the great state of New York with some awesome news for him. But yeah, we're glad to have you back, buddy. You took a week off. We missed you. Dave filled in for you. Dave's also been on the MIA route. You guys are switching off on who's missing for a couple weeks here.
Yeah. I mean, thanks, Dave, for covering. I'm sure he held it down well. But we're just taking turns. That's all.
Yeah, I like it, and that's what we do at Hoop Ball. We're a team-oriented. I almost said team-oriented team because I couldn't think of anything else. So that's what we're going with. We're a team-oriented group. That's what I got.
There you go.
Awesome. And guys, if you haven't already, before we get into this, get your MyBookie account going now and sign up using the promo code HoopBall. That's HOOPBALL. They will match your first deposit 100%. And we are now almost fully into the second round of the playoffs. We still got the guys out west. They're trying to decide who wants to play the LA teams. Well, that's all we got now, and we're almost there. And football is right around the corner. I know, obviously, that's the biggest betting sport in the country. So if you want to join MyBookie now, we have 9 days for the NFL starts. So you're going to want to get that account now and get 100% of your deposit matched by using the promo code HoopBall. And also, don't forget about Manscaped. I say it every time I'm on here. I know Mike does too. Manscaped, the Lawnmower 3.0 is bar none one of the best products I ever own. This thing is fantastic. It is a lawnmower. So go on over to manscaped.com and enter the promo code HoopBall20. That's the same HOOPBALL 20, and get yourself a Lawnmower 3.0 or the perfect package. You will not be disappointed. But Steve, we're here to talk some basketball. We have some exciting playoffs going on right now. We have on our docket today. We have the Celtics and Raptors. And the Game 7, the only Game 7 right now, we're currently doing it the night before, and we're midway through the Rockets Thunder game, so we might have 2 Game 7s at West. But we have a Game 7 with the Jazz and Nuggets, and those two are going to be exciting. I just saw the Heat beat the Bucks. Did you see that one, bud?
Oh, that was awesome. I mean, Jimmy Butler was amazing in that game. But, yeah, it was a great game. I'm excited for that series.
Yeah, that's going to be an exciting series. I know the Bucks got beat last year in the same spot there. They got beat in the first game in the first round as well. Let's see how they respond on their home court.
Yeah, I guess they have first game jitters. We'll see if they get it back together.
I remember, last year they got beat pretty bad by the Celtics, and then they just dominated the rest of the next 4 games. So the Heat are a very, very intriguing team, though. They have a bunch of deep three-point shooters. They have Bam. They have Jimmy. They have a lot of talent on that team, underrated talent, and they gel as a team. So we'll see how it happens. But the Bucks were a powerhouse all year, so I think they'll bounce back at least in this next game. But let's forget about them because they're not on the docket tomorrow. Let's go into what we came here for, what our viewers and listeners want from us, buddy. The first game on the docket is the Celtics versus the Raptors. First game was pretty good. I don't want to say it was great. It kind of, the Celtics kind of controlled it most of the game. It was, we'll just call it a game. But this game starts at 5:30 p.m. The spread is 1.5 to the Celtics. So they are actually the underdogs in this one. On the road. I like to say that. I know we're in a bubble. It's just funny. The Celtics are a plus 105 on the money line. The Raptors are a negative 125. And the over-under is 217.5. The both over-unders are very similar in this one. But let's start on the Celtics side, man. Who do you like? We'll start with the big three guys. Tatum, Walker, Brown. Do you have any interest in any of these guys?
Yeah, of the three, my favorite is Jaylen Brown. I guess I should start off by saying the pricing in general right now is very tight. So the the value isn't sticking out quite like it normally does. So I had to look a little bit further. But I like Jaylen Brown at 7,300. I was comparing him to Tatum, and they have fairly similar per minute fantasy production against this Raptors team. And Brown is almost $2,000 cheaper. I think he'll bounce back. He was 6 for 18 in the first game, and he had 5 fouls, which limited him to 31 minutes. So I think for the price, I prefer Brown out of all of those three. Walker's just a little too expensive for me at 7,600. He did look great, but I'm just not too excited about him at that price. What do you think about those guys?
I like Brown and Walker. Not so much Tatum for some of the reasons you said as well. It's just this matchup he hasn't been great in all the 5 games. He's averaged 35.6 DK points. I know this last game he started off slow and then he finished pretty good. He finished 9 of 18 from the field. He didn't really score in the first 10 minutes or so, but he finished pretty strong. The other time they played Toronto in the bubble, he scored the exact same amount of fantasy points. So it's kind of a trend, and he was 7-14, so still 50% from the field. This is a tougher matchup for him. I do like Jaylen Brown and Kemba Walker. I know they're similar. I lean towards Brown like you because I do on this slate in particular, there's a lot of good guards. Not as much small forwards and forward eligible guys that I like as much. So eligibility wise, I'm going to lean towards Brown. But I don't see a huge difference between him and Walker. Though I do want to say, watching that game, he played well after it, but Walker did come up a little limpy at some point in that game. I forgot exactly when, but he planted a little weird on his knee. He went down for a minute, came up when the Raptors came back down the court. But he was favoring that knee for a few minutes. It didn't really affect him, but that's the same knee, that left knee, that he was giving him problems for the majority of the second half of the season and even in the bubble. So that's something to be scared off of or not scared off of to file away into your note bank or whatever. But I do like Brown too. I think the matchup suits him fairly well.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on Walker with that. He did look, as you said, he looked pretty good afterwards. But yeah, we'll see.
Yeah. All right, let's go to the other guys. Oh,
yeah, I was gonna say I have a cheap guy that I want to know what you think about Robert Williams.
Oh, your guy, Big Rob.
Not my guy. Please don't put those words in my mouth.
Your guy, Big Rob.
He played some minutes in the first game. Cantor was a DMP. I have a feeling that they will be going to Robert Williams in this matchup. And just because it is going to be really hard to build lineups if you're looking to get more than one of these expensive players in it, at 3,300, he's a okay punt option. He played really well in game 1, and if you can get me like 15 to 18 fantasy points from him at that price, I'd be happy.
Yeah, I have some interest in Robert Williams as well. Pretty much similar reasons why you said. There's not many, if any, people that you're going to find cheap in this slate. And the pricing is with four teams and 2 games. and how the pricing just drops. There's very high salary players and then mid-range guys. There's not really any low guys to go for, but he is someone to look at. And like you said, they didn't play Enes Kanter last game. Robert Williams looked pretty well. And if you watching closely, I did see some Ibaka Gasol time on the floor together. So if that's a trend that continues for Toronto, maybe we see Daniel Tyson, Robert Williams on the floor for a few extra minutes each game also. And at 3,300 for a guy that can get you, even if he doesn't score double-digit points again, he could get you like 6 points, 2 blocks, 5 rebounds, and bring you back 15 points so you can pay up elsewhere. That's something to think about, especially on a small slate. So I like that one as well.
Yeah, and the last guy I'll have a little bit of consideration for on Boston is Tice. I don't expect Tice to quite get 15 rebounds again, but he's their starting big. I do expect him to see upper 20, maybe close to 30 minutes. Tice was in early foul trouble last game, and Boston was kind of blowing them out, so he only saw 25 minutes. I could see his minutes pushing up a little bit, and at 5,200, we really got to search for these guys that are, a below average price just to make these lineups work. I don't mind looking at Tice either.
Yeah, that's another guy I like too. I guess we're on the same page in the Celtics. I do like Tice at 52. It's a pretty good price. He's 15 boards for a guy that barely gets double digits ever. Is a very tough ask. So I'm not expecting that either. I'm not expecting another 40 point, but I think he could bring back value. I think he can bring back his 20 hit 5x for you, maybe a little bit more, but they're going to need him in this matchup. And if you look at the center slate, it goes Jokic at 95, then Gobert at 79, and then there's just a drop off. I mean, there's only 4 teams. There's only 4 starting centers, Ibaka and Tice. So there's really not much to choose from. And if you're going to pay up for some of the bigger guards on this slate, we got to save elsewhere. And I like Tice as that as well. And he's probably the last guy that I'd look at this team, just like you said.
Yeah, I agree. He's also power forward eligible if you do want to play one of those other centers and just need someone to fill out your lineup. Might be able to work there too.
Which is a good thing. Again, with only 4 teams, there's not much. It just goes from top heavy to find someone. And finding him, I think if you're a lower price guy and you can bring back 5x value and hit value here, and then you can get the guys that can go boom boom. That's I said boom boom. I like it, but that's where I'm looking at with a short game slate as well.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, man. Let's see if we're on the same page in Toronto, who is the home team again, the home team in the bubble. But we have 3 high-priced guys, and then Ibaka's pretty much there. We can include him as well. We'll say the 4 big guys and then everybody else. But we'll start with the 4 big guys. And I know last time we go in like backcourt, front court, et cetera. But with just 4 teams, we're just going to stick to the 2 big guys. Right now we'll switch it up. I just talked myself into switching it up. Let's do who do you like out of the big 2 guards on this? Do you like Van Vliet or Lowry, or do you have any interest in them?
Yeah, I have some interest in Lowry at 7,700. Last game he was only -5, which was the best out of any of the Raptors starters. So he played all right, compared to the rest of his team. He also only played 35 minutes, which I say only, but Nurse is used to playing these guys really big minutes in the playoffs. So he had 5 fouls, so I could actually see his minutes pushing up a little bit from there. He didn't necessarily have his most efficient game at 5 for 12. I'm perhaps being a little optimistic, but I kind of like Lowry at 7,700. I certainly like him a lot better than Van Vliet at 7,800. Van Vliet had a horrible first game. There's certainly room to go up, but he 3 for 16, and I don't know. I just, I guess a little bit of his gut, but I like Lowry in this one more than Van Vliet. What about you?
Yeah, I don't hate Van Vliet, but I do like Lowry with the $100 discount as well. Van Vliet did shoot 3 of 12. He wound up scoring more points, and he wound up hitting 40 DK points, which is crazy considering he only had 11 points. Well, a lot of that came with 6 steals, which I just can't see again. When
Oh
was the
yeah,
last?
he was actually awesome. If you watch the game, like he was just hounding people. He is
Yeah.
awesome on the ball. Um, but yeah, I don't see him getting 6 steals again.
It's too tough to ask for.
It is.
But I like Lowry, especially if I want Kemba Walker to guard Lowry for the majority of the minutes, which I think is going to happen, and that helps him out instead of having Smart. But I like Lowry to bounce back a little bit. I know he got hurt at the end of the Brooklyn series, but now he's had a few days, maybe I think over a week now, I believe, to heal up. I think he looked pretty good. His shot should fall. He's traditionally, they both, if you look at their history, or I should say the season history, they're about 1.5, 2 points difference from each other, with Lowry getting the slight edge. And that's kind of where I see it. I don't think VanVleet is a bad play necessarily, but I like the $100 discount for Lowry. He's the one guy out of the 4 high-priced guys in the Raptors that I definitely would look towards the most. And I guess that's a good segue into, how do you feel about Siakam and Ibaka out there, the other 2 highest-priced guys on the team?
Well, Siakam, I think we talked about this on the last show we did a couple weeks back, but like we kind of need to see something from this guy before we're going to him. He did not look great in that first game. He was just, they were going to him in the post, and he was just having a lot of trouble against Tatum and some of the other Celtic bigs. Siakam, I mean, he was just not that good in the first game. He was 5 for 16. He was minus 20. I don't see it for him. But I do kind of like Ibaka. So out of every coach in the league, the one guy that I know will come to a game 2 with adjustments is Nick Nurse. Ibaka is just a much better matchup for this Celtics team than Gasol. I definitely see his minutes pushing. He'd played 25 minutes or so last game. I see that coming into the low 30s. Marc Gasol was pretty bad in that first game. He doesn't really have the athleticism anymore to keep up with this Celtics team. And Ibaka's got, much more of the physical tools needed. Plus, I just don't think they necessarily need Gasol's size against this kind of undersized Celtics team. So I kind of like Ibaka's minutes to come up a little bit. And I could see him returning value at 6,200.
Yeah, that's not bad. I also don't really like Siakam in this. Yeah, again, you said it. He hit over 45 DK points in 2 games, the last 2 games against Brooklyn. But if you look at his stats, I know he's not a big 3-point shooter. He can hit some, and he can hit some effectively sometimes, but he's only hit over 40% of his threes 2 times in his last 10 games. He's been very bad. The last 2 games combined that he's played, he's 1 of 10 from 3, and just 14 of 38 from the field. Usually I like to see people bounce back. I like to predict their bounce back. Like, they can't shoot this bad. But he's a guy who said he didn't touch a basketball for pretty much 4 months when the whole pandemic hit. So I don't know if I see it from him yet. I have to see him put up a couple good games shooting-wise in a row to really buy into it. And this matchup is just tough for him. If you look at the 5 games they played in the season, he has averaged he's only 28 fantasy points, or the 3 games that he's only played. He's only averaged 28 DK points in those matchups. That's including this last one. That's too little to pay for a guy, to pay an $8,000 for a guy. So I'm going to back off on him. I said I like Lowry more than him at a couple hundred extra discount. I do like Ibaka though. I don't mind him. It's hard on a small slate to fit a guy at 62 without downgrading a little bit on the other side. But that's not a bad price as well. I think this matchup suits him fairly well. Daniel Tice is not the greatest, and he could definitely exploit that. He has the size advantage on him as well. I think he could play 30 minutes in this one. Like you said, I saw Marc Gasol going a little slow. He was missing open shots as well. And they might if they run the two big lineup again, that just gives him an extra couple minutes. But I like Ibaka more for the cheaper discount, and he has a safer floor in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed.
But I do like another guy on here in Anunoby. I think he played pretty well last game. I don't think he has a high ceiling per se, but at 4,800 and under 5K, I think he can bring you back 5x, maybe 6x, and that's what I would want for him at this price range, just to be able to pay up elsewhere. Is there anybody else under the Ibaka price, like Powell, Anunoby? I know you put your thoughts on Gasol already, but is there anybody else that you think is pretty good value on this team?
If I really need to get to it, I would consider Norman Powell. This is like, if like I'm kind of looking for someone that fits the mold at under 5,000. If the Raptors do indeed go a little bit smaller tomorrow to keep up with the Celtics' speed, I could see Ibaka playing 5, Anunoby at 4, and Powell coming in and playing some 3. Powell's a guy that's capable of lighting it up. He has some big fantasy games over the since joining the bubble. He's got three games over 40. So he's capable of lighting it up. But that's only if I get to him.
Yeah. All right. That sounds pretty good. So that's probably that's the only disagreement we have there. I'm more in the Anunoby camp. You're more in the Powell camp, but we have pretty much the same mindset going in that first game.
Cool.
But let's go to the exciting Game 7 on the docket. The Utah Jazz at the Denver Nuggets in a winner go home game. Winner get out of the bubble game. The Jazz are underdogs by 1. They're getting 1 point in this. There's currently no money line, and the over-under is 218. So they're both pretty much at the same over-under. Just a half point separates the Vegas projected total scoring for each game. But let's get into the Jazz first, who are technically the away team. And let's start with these top 3. We'll throw Conley in there. These top 3 big guys, Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, Mike Conley. Any interest in any of these guys or all of these guys?
Yeah, I like Donovan Mitchell at 99. He's had a 37% usage during this first round playoff series. He's been awesome. It's been the Mitchell and Murray battle every game. Gary Harris is back. He should be able to make things a little bit tougher for Mitchell, but with that kind of usage in a Game 7, I'm positive that he is going to get his shots. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot. I'm willing to pay up for Mitchell there. What about you?
Yeah, I have interest in all 3 of them at varying degrees and depending on how I'm making my lineup. Mitchell, if you put in Mitchell, it's going to be hard to get Murray, but you can get both of them together. I already seen myself do that. And for everything you said, Mitchell is going to come out firing. It is Game 7, and for some reason, it seems like every other game he drops 40 plus. So he put up 67 last game. I want to see him do it 2 times in a row, but he's taken the last 3 games 25, 23, 27 shots. So he is not shy about shooting. And the 2 times that he didn't really take over 25 shots in this series, the games were blowouts, a 19-point win and a lot bigger of a win. So he's pretty much locked into 20-plus shots, and that's insane usage, and he's being the primary ball handler too. So at 99, he is a top guy on the slate pricing-wise, but it makes sense. It makes complete sense for him.
Yeah. Out of those 3, I do also like Gobert. At 7,900, I think Gobert is going to play as many minutes as he is capable of playing. His backups have just been horrible. For the Jazz to win this game, they're going to need Gobert to play over 40 minutes. He's been doing what he does. He's actually been the Jazz's best defender statistically against Murray so far, which it says a lot. But he's keeping up. He's also been doing a pretty good job on Jokic, so he'll have the opportunity. He'll have the minutes. I like Gobert.
Yeah. Well, he hasn't hit value in the last 3 games at 30, we'll say 32, 31, 33, and he's at 7,900 right now. But it is game 7, and he's played 85 minutes the last 2 games. So again, if you have the money at that center position, there's a big drop off after that. But I like him as well. I think he can easily bring you back 5x, 6x in this game format. I assume he's gonna take more, get in double-digit shots for once. He hasn't done it in the last 3 games. They've lost the last 2. I think it's about time for him to get some extra shots in there, and that's only going to bring him more fantasy points. But switching over to the third big guy, Mike Conley, I do also have some interest in him. This game 7, anything can happen. And if I don't get any shares of Mitchell because he is 9,900, then I want some shares of Conley. Again, another guy that's 6,800. He's been bringing back value pretty much the last 4 games. He's just under 40 points almost, except for one. He was at 33, but that's pretty good value. And then you get Murray in there and whatnot. But if I'm not getting Mitchell, I definitely want some Mike Conley in there.
Yeah, good call. I had a question for you. I'm going to put you on the spot.
Let's go.
Do you like Conley at 68 or the Raptors guards at 77 and 78?
Well, it's a difference of 1,000, so it's a bigger difference than I would hope for. But if we're going dollar, say that if they were the same price, dollar for dollar.
Yeah, dollar for dollar. I mean, not just overall fantasy points.
Dollar for dollar. Okay. In this case, I would say Mike Conley.
That's what I was thinking too.
And not that I don't like Lowry, but dollar for dollar, I think the Celtics and Raptors, I know they're only at a half a point difference in the over under, but those are 2 of the best 5 defenses in the league this year. I think they were the only 2 teams in the top 6, I believe, in offensive efficiency and defensive efficiency. So that's going to be a slugfest. Even though we're in the bubble, there's no fans. There should be a lot less pressure. To me, it's more of a scrimmage game because I don't know if they fully hear the fans. I don't know. I haven't really heard it yet. But still, these 2 teams are defensive hounds, and that takes off a lot of pressure on you, and it takes a lot of your stamina for the offensive game. And then Conley is just there, getting probably a lot of Murray on him, or mainly Murray on him, who's focused on just scoring right now. I know he's been great, but I think Conley, with all the attention that Mitchell gets, Conley's been getting a lot better looks lately.
Yeah, good call. Yeah, I like your Conley call. I'll be using it.
Hopefully it pans out. I mean, I still like. I'll say I definitely like him more than Van Vliet, and I do like him more than Lowry. But I also like Lowry. There's a lot of good guards on here. But yeah, how about after these big 3? Is there anybody else like a Clarkson, Ingles, O'Neal, Georges Niang? Is there anybody that you're looking at here for some value?
Yeah, I think Ingles and O'Neal are pretty fairly priced. I like Ingles more than O'Neal, just because I just think these Jazz starters are going to see really high minutes. The Jazz got killed last game in the Clarkson and Yang minutes. I just don't think that they can defend this Nuggets team. So you're going to need some of these $5,000-ish guys. Happy with both Ingles and O'Neal. Besides that, that's all I'll be looking at on this Jazz team.
Yeah, I'm not really looking at too much. It's just hard. To me, I think Joe Ingles, just a gut feeling like you had before, I think he plays well in a Game 7. There's just something about this guy's charisma and demeanor that I like him in a Game 7. Usually, since Conley's been back and since Conley plays, it's always all season it's put a damper on Joe Ingles. But for one game, I'm willing to take that. But the 5-3 might be hard to fit in my lineup. I also don't like a lot of forward eligible guys like small forwards and whatnot. So I'm looking more at a Joe Ingles and paying up that extra 8 if I have it instead of the O'Neal. But I just have that gut feeling. There's no rhyme or reason, just a gut feeling that he has a pretty good Game 7.
Because he's fearless.
Yeah, I just like him. I like him. I root for that guy.
Yeah, me too. How could you not? Looks like a substitute teacher.
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to use that.
I stole it from somewhere. I can't
Oh,
take
did you?
credit for
Oh,
it. I
don't
heard it
say that.
somewhere.
No one heard that. No one heard
Yeah.
that. That was all Steve's. Steve's
Yeah, it's a
idea. You
Steve
heard it
Williams
here first.
original.
I like that. All right, man. So we went through 3 teams already. Let's switch on over to the last game, the last team of the night in the Denver Nuggets, who just won 2 straight. They crawled back from 3-1 with the help of Jamal Murray. And now they're at 3-3 going on to a game 7. So let's start with the big guy, the 2 big guys in Jamal Murray and Jokic. It's funny that Will Barton's third highest priced and he hasn't played. But let's go. Jamal Murray and Jokic. Any interest? I mean, obviously there's interest, but do you want to play these guys, and are you trying to get them in most of your lineups?
Yeah, I mean, I want to play both of these guys. I don't think I'll be able to. With Jamal Murray, we'll start there. There's no one on this Jazz team that's guarding him well. He's shooting over 50% versus Mitchell, Ingles, and O'Neal. He's really just hitting shots. I heard a really good take today. A lot of people are, screaming that the Jazz should be like hounding him and doubling him to get the ball out of his hands. But if you look at the Jazz's defensive scheme, that's really not something they've done all season. And it's difficult to start doing that in the middle of a playoff series. So I kind of understand why they haven't been doing that quite as much. Maybe we'll see them double Murray a little bit more this game and try to get the ball out of his hands. But it's hard to, go against Murray, he's just been torching. He's putting on one of the best shooting performances in a playoff series I think we've ever seen. So, yeah, I'll definitely be having some shares of Murray. How about you?
Yeah, and in a game 7, anything can happen. Coaches need to be able to adjust on the fly right now, because if you lose, you're done. You don't get a second chance. I could see them wanting to hold off because they did have that 3-1 lead, but now it's 3-3. Now you can't. You have to get the ball out of his hands any way you can. But he's also been just phenomenal. He's in all 3 wins, he's played over 40 minutes, and the one game that it was a 2-point game, he's played over 40 minutes. So he's getting the run, and they're definitely going to give him the run as long as it's not a blowout. And even if it is, it's the last game. Maybe they'll just keep it. I don't know. But I'm definitely going to have – you can't not have – this guy's too hot right now to not have any shares of him. He's dropped 50, 42, and 50. Like, whoa. Yeah. I'm at a lot. Like, come on. Yeah, we have to play him there.
I'll just bring up one point that maybe I'll put doubt in some people's minds. Last year – Murray was awful in the Game 7 against Portland Trailblazers. He pretty much choked. He went 4 from 18 from the field. So who knows? Maybe he gets some jitters. We'll see, because they need something to stop this guy.
Yeah, and I wrote about it in one of the layup lines too, that I liked him because I had a feeling he wanted to put the bad taste that he left in fans and everybody's mouth for that playoff, not for just the Game 7 specifically, but he had a really uneven playoff series where he would show up big one game and then just fully disappear the next game throughout the entire playoffs last year. So he's really made up for it this year. He could falter again, but right now he's playing so hot that for $200 cheaper than a Donovan Mitchell, I mean, I really like him, and I really like Jokic. And Jokic, or I said his name different 2 times in 2 seconds, but I really like him as well. It's going to be, you can't get all 3 of them in the lineup. It's just not doable. You can get 2, and if I do multiple lineups, I'm going to mix and match there because I'd like a lot more. There are a lot more guards that I like than bigs in this, so I will probably lean like a Mitchell Jokic lineup.
Yeah, I like that call. Yeah, it will definitely be hard to get more than 2 of those guys in a lineup. But yeah, Jokic, I have a lot of confidence in him to come out and do what he always does. He's going to play as many minutes as he can possibly take. So, at 95, I could see him very easily returning value, and he has a super high ceiling as well.
Yeah, that he hasn't hit yet. As he hasn't hit in a while. I don't go Bears there, but it's about time for him to make a pretty good thing. But dollar for dollar, we got to go. I mean, I got to go Murray just on recent play because it's been insane.
Will you have more Murray or Mitchell tomorrow?
Ooh, now that's the key. Probably I'll have more Murray, I would say, just because I do like Mike Conley as well. There's not another guy in this price range on the Nuggets that I can pivot to. 'Cause the next pivot is Jokic, and that's really not. You're pretty much paying the same price. So I'll see myself playing a little bit more Murray.
Yeah, I'm kind of on the fence. I actually think I was leaning slightly towards Mitchell. Maybe we'll have to side bet it.
I mean, it's not hard for. I think they're both going to put up really good games, but just knowing that I could also get a Conley if I don't get Mitchell exposure, or I can go both of them. Knowing that gives me a little bit more of. I know I definitely want some Nuggets guys, and I'd go Murray, but I also like as I said before, the Mitchell Jokic pairing. So it all depends on how I'm feeling when I'm filling out that particular lineup.
Yeah, cool.
How about anybody else on this team? Because they're all pretty much jumbled into that 5.5 to 3.9 range. So is there anybody else on the Nuggets that you're looking at for value here?
To be honest, no. I don't really like any of these guys. I think Porter Jr. has a high ceiling. It might be worth a look at 5,500, but he just started getting cooked defensively by the Jazz, and if he is getting cooked, I could see him just getting pulled right out of the game. The Nuggets might be wise to go with a little bit more Grant and Millsap just to get some more defense on the floor. I don't like any of these guys. I think Monte Morris's minutes should be down with Gary Harris coming back. I don't necessarily trust Gary Harris to be able to hit shots coming back from this injury. I think he'll get some minutes because they'll need his defense. But I don't really like anyone else on this Nuggets team.
Yeah. I don't mind Grant, but dollar for dollar, Tice and Ingles and Anunoby are right around the same price, and I like them a little bit better. So I'm not going to gravitate towards Grant too much. But Gary Harris, you just mentioned him. He's only 39, and I know he was on a minutes limit last game, his first game back, but he played 21. He only took 4 shots. I know he only put up less than 9 DK points, but I can't find many people, if any, besides him, Robert Williams. There's not many people. I'm not looking at Torrey Craig, but not many people that I could see put up some fantasy value under 4K. So on a slate like this, I'll give him some love and some look there. But that's pretty much it outside the big guys. If I'm not getting any exposure to them, I have to get exposure to them because the depth on the Nuggets. It's funny. It went from this is the deepest team in the league to right now I can't really trust too many people.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. They kind of need to trade off offense and for defense in a lot of these positions. So it'll be exciting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. Awesome. So that looks like that's all we got for you guys on a 2-game slate, a game 7 and a game 2. This is going to be a fun one, and hope everybody gets some W's out there. And before you leave, make sure to keep checking all the other podcasts that we have on Hoop Ball, our DFS betting site, or not bet. That's us, our Today in Sports betting site, and then bring that on over to my bookie. And then we got the box score breakdowns at Fantasy NBA Today, around the association, all the team podcasts. We got so much going on, guys. We got an Instagram page, Facebook page, our countless Twitter pages. But yeah, keep giving us a look and rate and review if you can, wherever you can, Apple, iTunes, Spotify, wherever you can find us or wherever you listen to us. And give my man Steve a follow. Steve, tell him where they can follow you on Twitter.
It's 0 Stark 30, 0 spelt out, Stark like John Starks, and 30 spelt out.
Awesome. And you can find me at Santino Cacone. And this was our episode on the 1st of September. I didn't even make a big deal of it. The 1st of September, September 1st, 2020. I shouldn't even say the date because it's a brutal year. But on behalf of myself, Steve, and everybody at Hoop Ball DFS Today, thank you guys for tuning in, and have yourselves a winning day.
This has been a Hoop Ball presentation.